Hey guys, Bob the PC Builder here, back again with part 2 of our video, fixing and upgrading the home PC build. If you didn't see part 1, go back and watch that now. But a little recap of what we're going to do. We have our new motherboard. It is an ASRock Z77 Extreme 4 motherboard. The only thing that sucks is it doesn't have an I/O shield, but that's fine. Maybe I could find one online or something. But we're going to be switching the CPU cooler onto there, switching the RAM, upgrading the RAM, then putting our two 1070s in SLI on there, and then we should be back in action. So let's get started. Alright, let's get started. Just kidding. I got these to try and repair the motherboard, but since I can't find the chip, we don't need these right now. Save them for later. Okay, so we got both our motherboards right here. The first step is to remove the RAM. Just slide back the little tabs. 1, 2, easy enough. Then the CPU coolers. This one I didn't screw in, so we just pop that out. Then next is to take off this one. As you can see, it's blocked by some screws over here. So you got to remove the fan to get to the screws. Fan just comes off. Then you start unscrewing these a little bit at a time. Make sure the springs come off on both sides. A little bit at a time, and there we go. Comes right off. We got our CPUs right here. As you can see, there's still some residue from the old thermal compound. We got some new thermal compound from Cooler Master we're going to use right here. And then we got to clean these off. You just use some regular rubbing alcohol. Clean off the CPUs. Look at all that dust on that. Clean that off. Clean off all that. And then we'll be good to go to put on the new cooler. This one is 1155 and this one was 2011, LGA 2011. But I believe that the brackets should fit on the same way. If not, we'll have to switch some things around. But we'll take a look at that right now. But first we're just going to clean these and then we'll be right back to you for the next step. So we've gotten all the old thermal paste removed from the CPUs and the cooler. So we're ready to work on our new motherboard. And so we're not going to need this one. We're going to move this one out of the way. Worry about fixing it in the future. So now we can work on this one. And with the cooler, I thought it used the same brackets, but it doesn't for 1155 motherboards. But luckily I have the parts for it. So we're going to screw these ones on and then install our cooler and then move on to the RAM. So zoomed in a little bit so we could take a closer look. We're ready to put on our CPU cooler. First step is to put on our thermal paste. Got some Cooler Master stuff right here. It's kind of old, but it should still work. So you just put a little bit out of the plunger. Get a nice good size drop. Try and spread it around. Hopefully that should be enough. Not too much, not too little. There we go. Let's end that. Now you got to be very careful with this part. This is the most nerve-wracking part. We got our brackets on. Got to make sure we line it up. All cleaned at the bottom. Now we got to very carefully put this on very precisely. Hopefully we do it right. Get it on the first try. You don't want to lift it up again once it's touched. Okay. And do opposite sides. Follow the arrows. turn it. Alright, we got it installed pretty good. We got our CPU cooler on. We just got to attach to the fan now. So you always check with the arrows right here, which way the airflow is going. So we want it to go back out of the computer, so we want it to go this way. We got to make sure the cable is wrapped around properly too. Try and put it in an orientation that's gonna make it easier to plug in. Like that should be perfect to reach the cable. The airflow is going this way. So this cooler has these little hook-on brackets. Just gotta put it through the holes like that. Put the other one on. There we go. Yeah, they're really hard to stay on, so you gotta hold on to them. Make sure they're on the right holes. It's best to start with one side. This one you gotta tuck it in there. Hold it on. There we go. Oops. And there we go. Nice and secure. I have two more brackets here to put a fan on the other side, but we'll save that for the end in case we need it. Tuck it around. Spin to the other side if you can see right here. So we can plug in the fan to the CPU fan header. Make sure it's seated properly. There we go. Looking good. Nice and out of the way of everything. Alright, our next step is to do the RAM. Got our 4 sticks right here. So we just line them up. The fan's not in the way. Always make sure the notch is lined up. Put one right there. Give it a little pressure. It clicks in. One. The second one. There we go. Perfect. Got our new ones right here. Upgrade to 16 gigs. It speeds it up a little bit. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Next one in. There we go. Make sure they're all tightly in there. And it was perfect. This is our motherboard, all set up, ready to put it in the case next. Okay, so we got our case here. It's a bit of a rat's nest, kind of. So everything's kind of messy, just from the process of doing all this. So first we're gonna clean everything up, and then put in the motherboard, and then reconnect everything. Maybe rewire some stuff, or coordinate the wires. Got a lot of stuff here. Takes a lot of time. So I'm going to clean everything up off screen. It's really easy, just a process of taking everything out and putting it in a different order. So we'll be right back once we're ready to actually put the motherboard in the case. Got everything cleaned up, routed as much stuff as I could to the back. Set some different stuff up to see if it works. Now we're ready to put the motherboard in. Always make sure your motherboard standoffs are installed properly. I had to switch a few since this motherboard is a little bit skinnier. So now we're ready. Just gotta be careful. Move this cable's out of the way. Place it in. Here we go. That's the most nerve-wracking part. Line it up. We don't have an I/O shield, but that's fine. I did order one, but it's not going to get here for a while, so that's going to be annoying. But we got to get everything up and running. We'll put that in the future. So line up all the holes. Like I always say, start off with a couple and then add some more. So we'll do one here for demonstration. Try and line it up. Alright, some of these screws are hard to get to. Next step is to plug everything in. Start off with simple stuff. So we got everything installed. We got the fan on, all the wires and plugs and everything is situated good. So we're on the last step, is installing the graphics cards. So we're going to put in both the 1070s right now, link them up in SLI, connect the power connector, and then we'll be ready to test it out. Alright, so we got the computer set up, everything is all hooked up and plugged in. We're just going to do some quick cable management, got some ties, clean everything up, put the back panel on, and then we're going to go to connect it in and test it up. Time to test it.
Oh my god! Although actually it was sort of obvious.
You don't believe me? Take off the helmet.
I believe you.
Seriously, do it. Testing, testing. Do you read me?
Loud and clear.
What?
I said loud and clear. Only I said it with my thinking, not my talking.
Whoa. Foil on it, you'll be okay. Also, it'll keep the dark ones from incinerating your brain.
That's a plus.
And don't ever tell anyone.
Okay, so I finally figured out the problem. I don't know if it was the motherboard. I did break a chip off, but it was still power cycling, and it was because of the RAM, the old RAM. Lucky I bought new RAM. I don't know if it's both of these or one of these. I gotta test it, but I took out the old RAM and left the new ones I bought, and now it's booting up. So I have no idea why that happened. Now I gotta test it, but now we're getting a boot, and everything should be good. Just gotta test everything out. Managed to get into the BIOS. The problem was I had to clear the CMOS. I was getting a bunch of different error codes, 62 for the graphics, so I took out both the GPUs, then it still booted up with the keyboard wouldn't work. I thought I was a problem with the keyboard, but it wouldn't work. But then I finally took out the graphics card, plugged in the display into the motherboard connection. And then I was still getting a code 64, which is a clear CMOS. Clear the CMOS, now we're finally in the BIOS. So we're going to try and boot up and then put the graphics cards back in and see if we can still fix this. I'm going to have to leave the 2 sticks of RAM and do something else with these and test them again.
Squat. There's no scientific consensus that life is important.
So back in the Windows. That's good. Finally.
Approved for demolition.
Okay, so the problem wasn't the RAM. I tested all the RAM. The RAM is good. I couldn't figure out what was wrong, did some research online, and guess what? It's the pins. The pins of the CPU are bent. You can't really see it. It's hard to tell. I tried to bend them back already. I tried to bend them back to fix it. Bend them back as best I could. It looks alright. It's hard to tell. I bent them back, but it still won't work. Only these 2 slots work, which is single channel memory. It doesn't even work for the dual channel memory. So I don't know what to do now. I guess I gotta try and bend this as much as I can. Otherwise the computer can still work and run normally in single channel memory mode, but that's kind of lame, you know, because you can't even have the stuff. So we're gonna try and fix this and come back. So the plan is to keep on messing with this, trying it out to see if these 2 B slot RAM slots are gonna work. Only these 2 work, which is A1 and A2, but the B's are not working at all, and it's definitely this according to my research online. So we're gonna keep on messing with it. If not, we'll just have to run single channel memory mode because I have no other options. The other motherboard is broken, and apparently this motherboard I had lying around was broken without me knowing it from where I got it from. So, we'll be back to you with an update soon. Well, look at this. We are in business. All 4 RAM slots fitted in. Take off the light. You can see dual channel memory. All 4 sticks are detected. BIOS, everything is running perfectly. I have managed to fix the CPU pins. The CPU is working perfectly, so all the RAM is detected. Graphics cards, computer is finally fixed. This motherboard was a problem, but it's easier to fix than the other one, so job well done, mission complete. The home PC build is back in action, and it's working 100%, so thank you. And good night.